What if your Ram is already halfway to the junkyard and you don't even know it? Most Ram trucks don't make it past 200,000 miles. Not because they can't. Because their owners skip one simple thing. I've seen $60,000 trucks destroyed by a $40 part. I've seen beaters with 350,000 miles that won't quit. The difference isn't luck. It's not even money. It's knowing what actually matters and what's just noise. Stay until the end for the one fluid nobody checks. It's not oil. It's not coolant. And by the time you notice it, the damage is already done. The truth about high-mileage Rams. Here's something dealers will never tell you. Your Ram was built to last way longer than most people think. The frame is heavy-duty steel. The drivetrain is over-engineered. The engines, when maintained properly, can run for decades. But most Rams never get the chance to prove it. They get traded in at 120,000 miles because something major went wrong. They get sold at auction with a blown transmission. They sit in driveways with a seized engine because someone skipped one too many oil changes. And the owners always say the same thing. I thought I was doing everything right. They weren't. And I'm going to show you exactly what they missed. This isn't about spending more money. It's not about babying your truck or avoiding hard work. Rams are built to work. They're built to tow, to haul, to get beaten on. That's the whole point. But there's a difference between working your truck hard and neglecting it. There's a difference between using it and abusing it. And that difference is what separates the trucks that hit 300,000 miles from the ones that end up in the junkyard at 150,000. I've been around Ram trucks my whole life. I've owned them, worked on them, watched friends destroy them, and watched others run them forever. And I can tell you, the trucks that last aren't special. They're not babied garage queens. They're just maintained correctly. Let's get into it. Oil changes, the real schedule. Everyone knows oil changes matter, but almost nobody does them right. Here's what I see constantly. Guys running full synthetic and thinking they can go 10,000, 12,000, even 15,000 miles between changes. The bottle says it's good for that long. The dealer says it's fine. The oil life monitor says 30% remaining. And then they're shocked when their engine develops a tick at 80,000 miles. Here's the truth. Your oil life monitor doesn't know what's actually happening inside your engine. It's making educated guesses based on mileage, temperature, and driving patterns. It doesn't know about the short trips that build up condensation. It doesn't know about the towing you did last weekend. It doesn't know about the dust you drove through on that dirt road. The monitor is a computer making assumptions. Your engine is reality. For Ram trucks, especially Hemis, I recommend 5,000 miles maximum on full synthetic. If you're towing regularly, drop that to 4,000. If you're doing mostly short trips in cold weather, 4,000. If you're running the truck hard in hot climates, 4,000. I know that sounds aggressive. I know the oil companies say their product lasts longer, but I've seen too many engines with sludge buildup, too many clogged oil passages, too many spun bearings on trucks that followed the schedule. Here's a story. A buddy of mine bought a 2017 Ram 1500 with the 5.7 Hemi. Previous owner was religious about oil changes, but he went 10,000 miles between them because that's what the dealer told him. Truck had 95,000 miles on it, looked clean, ran fine. 6 months later, the lifters started ticking. My buddy pulled the valve covers and found sludge caked on everything. The oil passages to the lifters were partially blocked. The damage was already done. He sold the truck at a loss. The new owner is probably dealing with a full lifter failure right now, all because someone trusted the oil life monitor instead of using common sense. The cost difference between 5,000 mile changes and 10,000 mile changes is maybe $100 a year. The cost of an engine replacement is $8,000 to $15,000. Do the math. And while we're talking about oil, use the right weight, check your owner's manual. Most modern Hemis call for 5W20. Some of the older ones want 5W30. The Cummins diesels have their own requirements entirely. You need CK4 rated diesel oil, and you need to take it seriously. Don't guess. Don't let the quick lube place talk you into something different because it's basically the same. It's not basically the same. Use what the engineers specified. Quick thing, if you're getting value from this, hit subscribe. I put out videos every week to help Ram owners avoid expensive repairs and make smarter buying decisions. Transmission fluid, the silent killer. And here it is, the fluid I promised you at the beginning. Transmission fluid. Most Ram owners never think about it. The dealer doesn't push it. The owner's manual buries it in the fine print. And by the time you notice a problem, harsh shifts, slipping gears, a shudder at highway speed, the damage is already done. I call this the silent killer because it gives you no warning. Your truck shifts fine for years. Everything feels normal. And inside the transmission, the fluid is slowly breaking down, losing its ability to protect the parts that matter most. Here's what happens inside your transmission. The fluid doesn't just lubricate. It's hydraulic fluid that actuates the clutch packs. It's cooling fluid that absorbs heat from the torque converter. It's cleaning fluid that carries away microscopic wear particles. Over time, that fluid breaks down. It loses its friction properties. It stops protecting the clutches. And those clutch packs start to slip, just a little bit at first. You don't feel it. The truck still drives fine. But inside, metal is grinding against metal, and every mile is making it worse. The clutch material wears away. The fluid gets contaminated with debris. The valve body gets clogged. And one day, you're merging onto the highway, and the transmission slips hard. Or you put it in reverse, and nothing happens. By the time you feel the symptoms, you're looking at a $3,500 to $6,000 rebuild. On the 68 RFE transmissions in the heavy-duty trucks, I've seen rebuilds hit $8,000. The fix: change your transmission fluid every 60,000 miles. Some people say 100,000. The dealer might say lifetime fluid. There's no such thing as lifetime fluid. That's a marketing term that means it'll last until the warranty expires, and after that, it's your problem. A transmission fluid change costs $150 to $300. A transmission rebuild costs 20 times that. This is the easiest math in the world. One more thing. Don't flush it. I know the quick lube places push transmission flushes. They hook up a machine that forces new fluid through the system. Sounds thorough, right? The problem is, that machine can dislodge debris that's been sitting harmlessly in the pan and push it into the valve body. I've seen transmissions fail within weeks of a flush. Transmissions that were working fine before. Drop the pan, replace the filter, refill with fresh fluid. That's the safe way. Do it again in 30,000 miles to get more of the old fluid out. Your transmission will thank you. Coolant, more important than you think. Your cooling system does more than prevent overheating. It protects every gasket, every seal, every water passage in your engine from corrosion. Most people think of coolant as simple. It's just antifreeze, right? It keeps the engine from freezing in winter and overheating in summer. Basic stuff. But coolant is actually a complex chemical mixture. Fresh coolant has additives that prevent rust and scale buildup. It has lubricants that protect the water pump bearings. It has chemicals that keep the pH balanced so the coolant doesn't turn acidic and start eating your engine from the inside. Old coolant loses those properties. The additives get used up. The pH drops, and slowly, invisibly, corrosion starts building up in your radiator, your heater core, your head gaskets, your water pump. I've seen engines with coolant passages so clogged with scale that they overheated even with a brand new radiator. The passages were so restricted that coolant couldn't flow properly. The only fix was to pull the engine and have it hot tanked, or replace it entirely. I've seen head gasket failures caused by nothing more than neglected coolant. The gasket didn't blow because of a defect. It blew because acidic coolant ate away at the sealing surfaces for years. By the time the gasket failed, the head surface was pitted and damaged. It needed machining before a new gasket would even seal. Change your coolant every 5 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. Use the correct type. Most Rams use OAT coolant, the orange stuff, but check your manual. Some years use different formulations. Don't mix different types. Green coolant and orange coolant don't play well together. If you don't know what's in there, flush the whole system and start fresh. A coolant flush costs $100 to $150. A head gasket repair costs $2,000 to $4,000. A new radiator is $400 to $800. A water pump is $300 to $600. Or you can just change the coolant on schedule. Differential fluid, the forgotten service. Here's another one that almost nobody does. Your Ram has differentials, one in the rear, and if you've got 4-wheel drive, one in the front. Inside those differentials are gears spinning at high speed, metal on metal, with nothing but a thin film of gear oil protecting them. Most people don't even know differential fluid exists. It's not something the dealer mentions. It's not something the quick lube place checks. It just sits there, doing its job until it can't anymore. That oil breaks down over time. It gets contaminated with microscopic metal particles from normal wear. it loses its viscosity. The extreme pressure additives get depleted, and when it fails, you don't get a warning light. You don't get a gentle reminder on your dashboard. You get a howling noise from the rear end, a grinding sound that gets worse the faster you go. And by the time you hear it, the gears are already damaged. A differential rebuild runs $1,000 to $2,000. If the ring and pinion are destroyed, you're looking at $1,500 to $2,500 for parts alone, plus labor. Change your differential fluid every 50,000 to 60,000 miles. If you tow heavy, do it every 30,000. If you've got a limited slip differential, make sure you use the correct fluid with the friction modifier, or you'll get chatter on turns. And if you've submerged your axles in water, crossing streams, deep mud, flooded roads, change the fluid immediately. Water in the differential is a death sentence for those gears. The water mixes with the oil, destroys its lubricating properties, and causes rust on the gear surfaces. I've seen differentials destroyed in less than 1,000 miles after a water crossing because the owner didn't think to change the fluid. The service costs $100 to $200. The repair costs 10 times that. See the pattern here? Brake fluid, the one everyone ignores. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. That means it absorbs moisture from the air. Even in a sealed system, water molecules find their way in over time, through the rubber hoses, through the reservoir cap, through microscopic gaps in the seals. Why does that matter? Because water boils at a lower temperature than brake fluid. Fresh DOT4 brake fluid has a boiling point around 450 degrees, but as it absorbs water, that boiling point drops. After a few years, it might be down to 300 degrees or less. When your brakes get hot, hard stops, mountain driving, towing a heavy trailer down a grade, the contaminated fluid can boil. Water turns to steam. Steam compresses, and suddenly your brake pedal goes soft, right when you need it most. That's called brake fade, and it's terrifying when it happens, but that's not even the worst part. Water in your brake system causes corrosion. It rusts your brake lines from the inside out. It damages the seals in your calipers and master cylinder. It pits the bore of your ABS unit, and one day you press the brake pedal and it goes straight to the floor. A brake line rusted through, a caliper seal failed, and you've got no brakes. I've seen brake lines fail on trucks that looked perfect from the outside. No visible rust on the body, no warning signs. Just a sudden loss of brakes because the lines were corroded from within by moisture-contaminated fluid. Flush your brake fluid every 3 years or 50,000 miles. It costs $100 to $150 at a shop. You can do it yourself for $30 in fluid and an hour of your time. Compare that to the cost of a brake failure. Not just the repair cost, the cost of hitting something or someone because your brakes didn't work. This one's not about money. It's about safety. It's about going home to your family at night. Spark plugs and ignition. Don't wait for problems. If you've got a Hemi, you've got 16 spark plugs. That's twice as many as a normal V8 and twice as many opportunities for something to go wrong. The dual plug design is great for combustion efficiency, but it means more maintenance, more parts to fail, and more labor when something needs replacing. Worn spark plugs cause misfires. Misfires cause unburned fuel to enter the catalytic converters. Unburned fuel destroys catalytic converters, and catalytic converter replacement on a Hemi costs $1,500 to $3,000, all because of spark plugs that cost $8 each. Replace your spark plugs every 100,000 miles or sooner if you notice rough idle, hesitation, or decreased fuel economy. Don't wait for the check engine light. By the time that light comes on, you might already have converter damage. While you're in there, inspect the ignition coils. They don't last forever either. A weak coil causes the same symptoms as a bad plug, and it can take out a new plug quickly. Coils are $30 to $50 each. Replace any that look corroded, cracked, or damaged. The labor to change plugs on a Hemi isn't fun. Some of those plugs are buried deep. Budget $300 to $500 if you're paying a shop. The stuff that doesn't matter. Now let's talk about what you can ignore. Fuel system cleaners. The ones they try to sell you at the quick lube place. The ones that promise to restore lost power and clean your injectors. Save your money. Modern fuel already has detergents in it. If your injectors are actually clogged, a $12 bottle of cleaner isn't going to fix them. You need professional cleaning or new injectors. Engine flushes. These are chemicals they add to your oil right before an oil change, supposedly to clean out sludge. In reality, they can dislodge chunks of buildup that clog oil passages and cause more problems than they solve. If your engine has sludge, the solution is more frequent oil changes going forward, not a magic flush that might send debris into your oil pump. Premium fuel in a regular fuel engine. If your truck doesn't require premium, don't buy premium. You're wasting money. The engine can't use the higher octane. It just burns it like regular gas. Check your fuel door or owner's manual. If it says regular unleaded, that's what you use. Dealer-only service. Your dealer is not the only shop that can maintain your Ram. Independent mechanics can do the same work for less money, often with more attention to detail. Find a good local shop and build a relationship with them. They'll know your truck, they'll watch for problems, and they won't try to upsell you on services you don't need. The maintenance schedule that actually works. Let me give you the simple version. The schedule I follow on my own trucks. Every 5,000 miles, oil and filter change, tire rotation, visual inspection of brakes, belts, hoses. Every 30,000 miles, air filter replacement, cabin air filter replacement, transfer case fluid, every 50,000 miles, transmission fluid and filter, differential fluid, front and rear, brake fluid flush, spark plug inspection, every 100,000 miles, spark plug replacement, coolant flush, serpentine belt and tensioner, water pump inspection. That's it. That's the whole list. Nothing exotic, nothing expensive, just consistent, scheduled maintenance that prevents small problems from becoming big ones. The mindset shift. Here's the real secret to hitting 300,000 miles. Stop thinking about maintenance as an expense. Start thinking about it as insurance. Every oil change is insurance against engine failure. Every fluid service is insurance against a rebuild. Every inspection is insurance against being stranded on the side of the road with a truck that won't move. The guys who make it to 300,000 miles aren't lucky. They're not driving special trucks with magic engines. They're just consistent. They do the boring stuff on schedule every single time. They don't skip services to save money. They don't ignore warning signs and hope they go away. The guys who blow up at 150,000 miles aren't unlucky either. They skipped services. They ignored warning signs. They told themselves it's probably fine one too many times. And eventually, the truck gave up on them. Your Ram wants to last. It was built to last. The engineering is there. The capability is there. Your job is to give it what it needs to get there. Fluids, filters, inspections, consistency. That's the whole secret. So there you have it. The complete guide to making your Ram last over 300,000 miles. Oil changes at 5,000 miles, not 10,000. Transmission fluid at 60,000, not lifetime. Skip the gimmicks. Ignore the upsells. Focus on the fundamentals. Do this, and your Ram will still be running when everyone else is shopping for a replacement. I made a full video breaking down the 3 worst and 4 best Ram engines. Which ones last, which ones fail, and which one I'd never put in my driveway. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.